My camera's on the camera. I just took pictures of myself thinking I was making a video. It's Thursday morning. Let me do a little, just an update. I'm trying not to do too many. I could have done some yesterday, just on some of the headlines I see. Just in general, they're very irresponsible. And the whole Trump and news, I'll do it now because I got it on. But I want to show you something. It's Thursday morning, so this is real time. I just check the news a lot during the day. And the USA Today, which is part of the Kohler Times, at least online, their top page, one of their top news stories, was President Donald Trump openly colluded with the Russians, and it's on video, illegally committed felonies, all these types of things. And I read the article, and it basically said, when Donald Trump, during his campaign, this is not all politics, huh? I'll talk to liberal friends in a second, I think you'll like it. But when Donald Trump made it's on video, and he said, I hope the Russians can, if they have the Hillary Clinton hacked emails, the 30,000, that she did wrong in deleting and destroying evidence and all that stuff. He said, if you release it, maybe you have them. And the USA Today, a so-called reputable paper, which is aligned, they own the Kohler Times now. They actually said that was an open, like a felony of violation of campaign law, because you were wanting Russia or any country who might have emails, not fake emails or texts that she deleted, but things that were serious, had to do with Benghazi, had to do with discussions I talked before. And because one political candidate basically said, if you have the evidence of illegal things that were possibly done by another candidate, the USA Today didn't question the actual fact that she destroyed those emails illegally after Congress subpoenaed them. The USA Today said the fact that one candidate said openly, release them, is a violation of campaign finance laws. It's a complete joke. But there are sincere liberal people, and I'll get to what I really want to talk about, who they see that news cycle today, and I don't watch MSNBC, CNN, I just read the news, then I catch off on my Roku clips of the news. But honest people realize, a good majority, that those types of things are a joke. That would be like saying, if somebody knew, if Lyndon Johnson, after the tragic assassination of John F. Kennedy, but if Lyndon Johnson or anybody knew that there was something wrong, meaning it wasn't just Oswald, just say, and if they went on TV and said, we hope that this other country, Canada, we know somebody in your country has the information of who really killed Kennedy, I guess the USA Today and the Kohler Times would say, we got you. You just bypass finance laws because you want another country. Now, the fact of the matter is, if Russia or any country had not fake emails or fake information, but real information that was illegally destroyed by any candidate, that's called shining light. I would have liked to see, we had hearings in Congress by Trey Gowdy and others about the actual seriousness of that thing. It revolved around Benghazi. And if you go to my sites and just search Benghazi, that was not a joke. That was a serious thing where Ambassador Stevens and people were killed. So, now Russia actually did arrest a U.S. citizen the other day. And they're charging him with spying. And I would imagine, because I could see the stupidity of some of what's going on, some of the cases that are before the courts now with Mr. Mueller, there is a person defending these Russian people and companies that supposedly violated a law that's not a law, which is collusion to interfere with an American democracy. Okay, that's part of which really is no law about a collusion to interfere with the American. But Mr. Mueller actually had that in his continual thing. And I would imagine and the Russian companies thought this is a joke. Because that aspect of it is a joke. Meaning if you had a Russian company or a Russian person who actually had some ads or whatever, that somehow that's foreigners colluding. Now there's a former chief prosecutor from the United States, a very noble man, who has been hired to defend that case. That's going before the courts. You don't see as much of that. And that man, who was a former prosecutor for the United States government, I think he worked for the FBI, I forget his name, he's defending the Russian companies because nobody thought the Russian companies are going to challenge Mueller. But that's exactly what he's saying. It's a fake in that sense, meaning we have developed, like if Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook or anybody, if they put ads on and there were people that bought ads, okay, all this, we understand a lot of it. But can you imagine charging Zuckerberg or anybody with collusion to defraud the United States, which is actually, there was no law violation if you could show those things. So it's a game. There are some serious things that we look at in our society, but your media is a game. Because I just explained that to you, how they could have seen a statement by Trump. I just wrote a little letter, and it's funny. I want to show you a few things. We'll talk a little bit about, I had a few years ago, I was helping a friend of mine, a good Christian friend, and I helped him out and just did fellowships with him. And I remember one time he had texted me. He's still a friend, and I see him on a Saturday when one of the ministers feeds the homeless at Brother Dave's Feeding Ministry, New Christian Harvest. But once I got a text like years ago, and I never answered my phone, and he said, "Hey brother, I heard you're doing a good job." And I finally said, "Who is this?" I said, "Brother so-and-so." He used to be a homeless brother on the streets. A lot of my friends know him. And then he got off the streets, he's doing well. And a lot of the older homeless guys know him. And so I did some fellowships and things with him, and Pops was in those, and just people you meet on the journey. But I remember a few years ago, because I never answered my phone, but I got a couple of missed calls from that brother. And then he had indicated at one time, "Do you need a truck?" Because he got a settlement. I knew he got like maybe $100 and something grand settlement, because he was talking about it. And when he called and I don't answer my phone, I had the feeling that maybe he wanted to, because he asked me, "Would you like a truck?" at one time when I was in person. And I said, "Oh, maybe I could use a better vehicle." But then when I seen him recently, again, as a fellowship thing, he told me, "You know, John, I had gotten an extra like 130, 50 grand, something like that." And he said, and I wanted to give that money to whatever I felt, some family he helped and all. And then he told me, he said, "You know, I still got 60 grand left. I gave like 70 grand of it away already." And he said, "But you never answer your phone." And this was a few weeks ago. And I said, "You know what's funny, brother?" I said, "I just gave all my savings, which wasn't a whole lot. But it would have been, like if you look at the 100-fold and the 10-fold return, the 60-something thousand, if you took a percentage of that and somebody gave it to me or to a ministry, it would have been almost the exact return of that savings I gave last week or 2 weeks ago." And I thought to myself, I said, that's interesting, because the number of the money that he has left, so much would fit. And I even said, "That's funny." But then he told me, he says, "I still got that left, but you never answer your phone." I said, you know, brother, I just don't answer it. And then I realized, I think maybe he was waiting for me to contact him. Like, oh, now John's going to start calling. I just felt that. Did you, John? No. Did you know? I still don't answer. Now, I didn't get any missed calls. But a few weeks went by. As soon as he seen me again, the first thing, you know, John, I still got that 60 grand left. Now, I wasn't mean or rude. I said, you know, brother, whatever God's going to do with it. It was almost like he was saying, all you got to do is answer your phone or say, I could use. And I almost, when I sensed that, I was like, I thought to myself, I wouldn't even take it now. Now, it wasn't that it was wrong. And I just felt, oh, I didn't like that. Which leads me to the whole reason I said, let's do this little video that will only be good for this day. My dear mom, now she's a liberal. She hates Trump. She watches MSNBC. My mom and my father's a retired firefighter, but they've been divorced now for years. And even though my father's a retired firefighter, which is very sad, that he's also not in the best financial shape. Though he retired from the North Brogan Fire Department. It's now called like Hudson County Regional, but the town I grew up in right by New York City. That's why you see those videos of me in North Brogan, New Jersey. Well, New York City's right there. We grew up right off of the Hudson River. But even him, and he's not in the best health. He lives in one of the cities still in New Jersey. I forget, Bloomfield or one of them. And my mom. But because it's right by New York City, the real estate of the house I grew up in, the real estate, you know, was very high. And I remember 7 or 8 years ago, 10 years ago, my dear mom, my sister, of course, my mom and dad only had 2 children, me and my oldest sister. Sadly, tragically, she died a few years ago. But so then when they think about the final things of life, wills and all, and over the last so many years, I forget, we're going to send you a copy of this, John. And to me, I was like, I almost don't want to be bothered with a lot of this. But I told my mom multiple times, I said, just that house is very expensive only because of the region it's located. Nice house, the house I grew up in as a kid in North Brogan. And then like about 6 years ago or so, my mom, she kind of like was asking me, do you think it would be all right if I did a reverse mortgage? Almost like she didn't need my permission. I said, Mom, I said, if that's a good deal, then you do it. I don't care. Get your income. I said, I've told you, sell it for your own benefit. It maybe now is worth, I don't know, $500,000, maybe 600,000, 700, just because of the region. I said, you need money, sell that thing and use all your money. And over the times, well, we want to give a certain part of you, and I joke with my mom. I don't care if she, but because of, you know, son, you're the only one left. So then I kid her because she puts money in a safe deposit box. I won't give too much personal. And she said, son, I got some money in this box. I want you to have the key for the safe deposit box. So anyway, the other day, and I know it's my phone, so my mom, who is grandma to my daughters, my mom knows she's got to call like one of the kids or something because John don't answer the phone. Even my mom once was in the hospital. I remember her telling the doctor said, we got to call your son. And I remember my mom said she told doctor, no, he doesn't answer his phone. Call his daughter. So I have the safe deposit key for one of the banks there, right where I grew up. My mom, this is actually the key. I got it out because now she wants to close that safe deposit box. Maybe she had like a disagreement. She's kind of like me. She gets in, and so maybe they're charging too much or whatever. And she has some cash in a safe deposit box. So my oldest daughter said, Grandma called, talked to her. She wants to close that one, open up another one, but she wants this key because I had the key. And I texted my daughter. I said, "Oh, you know, that I thought the bank told my mom you can't close it unless you have the duplicate key. There's 2 keys." I said, "Oh, she should be able to close it. They might just charge her a little fee to rekey the lock." And yes, the fee was 15, and so Grandma don't want to spend the 15, so I'm going to send her the key. But I kidded her over the years. And look, she's not like closing the box because she could do it right now if she wants. She wants to move it to another box for whatever reason. So I wrote her a little letter, and I kid with my mom. So, and she says, "Send the key." I would have just paid the 15 fee because and my handwriting's terrible. You could see my Dear Mom letter. I don't know if you could read it. I said, I got a kid with her. And look, she's got a sense of humor. I said, "Dear Mom," and I kid because she hates Trump. And I have liberal friends that are like lovers of Rachel Maddow and MSNBC and Joe Scarborough. I said, "Here is the key to the P.O. box." Now, I do this with my mom. She will laugh. I said, "But I wanted to let you know I had to take all the cash out for a good cause." "What cause?" My handwriting's terrible. I said, "Is it to help my homeless friends who are on the street?" "No." "To pay my debts off?" "No." I said, "I know you will be happy for what I used all the cash for. I sent it to Donald and Melania Trump to help with their legal expenses. Love, John." Now, she will laugh, okay? Some people are like, "Oh, she won't get that." No, I kid with her like that a lot. And so that's just one. But because I wanted to share that even during some of these transactions, there'll be a day when my dear mom passes away. And I'll have to take care of a lot of those affairs up there. And I don't mind going up there. And you say, "But you're going to get..." There have been multiple times I said, I don't really want to. There have been multiple times through these dealings, the will and these, there were times where I said that I don't want to. It's a hindrance. And so I just gave that as an example because I just sensed not any of my friends were, I noticed some people I felt like were thinking, surely he'll be nice. He'll call, at least he'll answer the phone now. That he knows I still have some. No, I won't. No, I won't. I'm not mad. I'm tired. And we're going to finish the course. I'd like to pay some debts off, yes. But I would prefer, I don't want to be, I can't see myself. Someday I'm going to have to take care of affairs, okay? I understand that. But I'd see those things as a distraction. I couldn't see myself, I used to make a lot of money as a house painter. And look, I'm a good house painter because I know how to do it right, professional house. I can make a lot of money doing this. I couldn't see myself, at this stage. I am retired. Retirement's not a lot. But I wouldn't be able, I see it takes, to do a lot of the teaching, a lot of the stuff, it does take dedication. And you can't really have so many hours of your day sidetracked. And I'm not challenging everybody the way God's told you to do things. So this will just be the one little update. I've been seeing a lot of my friends. I just finished the last Romans post, but I made some new links. That'll be posted as a page, meaning it'll be on a couple of my websites called Romans Links Updated 12:18 or 1:19, okay? And that means you see all these multiple things. And that is a little bit of a drain to do some of that. But to be dedicated. I had a friend, some days I don't feel well. But I saw one of my friends, and sometimes they could see, and they're like, "You're doing too much, maybe, John." Let me say, people that are addicts, today I think today is 6-year sober date. January 3rd. Today is 6 years. I'll mention it because I got this on. Now, I don't keep track of that. But I did remember because in the early stages of quitting drinking, a lot of my friends, it was like a big thing in the AA, which I don't do AA. But January 3rd is my 6 years. And I don't go to meetings, but when I go back to New Jersey to see some of the friends, they all go to the different meetings in that area where I grew up. And so sometimes I'll go in and say, like, I got 6 years. And did you get your, whatever they give, the keychain? And I'll get it just because I want to go to visit some of those friends. So, the people that are addicted, they wake up daily, and I don't fault them. Some of my friends, and their day will be spent having enough money to get high or to get something. And if you're doing the work of the kingdom and you're addicted to finishing the course, why not? You know, you say, well, you got to rest, you got to relax. I try. But other people, or even when you're in addiction, you're consumed daily by a particular thing. Why not do that? As your life and our lives come to a close, our generation, I'm 56, why not do that for something good? Okay? So that'll be a little, I don't know what I'll title this. I talked 20-something minutes. I don't think there's any more updates. I've been seeing a lot of my friends, and the key. I'm going to mail that letter to my mom. I kid my mom about I don't get mad that she's such a staunch liberal, you know, and I've kidded her about these things. And she knows. We laugh, and she'll laugh when she gets that, all right? God bless everybody.